Picture this: the city's most exclusive event, the Starlight Charity Gala. Billionaire Julian Vance is the king of this world, a glittering ballroom he himself founded, filled with champagne, diamonds, and power. On his arm is his stunning fiancée, Isabella Sterling, a woman with a smile as flawless as the marble floors. He's about to leave it all behind for the night, but as they turn to go, a young waitress, hands trembling, eyes filled with desperation, steps directly into their path, and the entire ballroom seems to fall silent. What she whispers to the billionaire won't just end the party. It will uncover a devastating secret about his long-lost daughter, a secret his beautiful fiancée has been hiding for 10 long years. This story of a father's undying love and the quest for justice is a powerful reminder of hope. We want to hear from you. What part of Julian's story moved you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And for more incredible stories that will touch your heart, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Julian Vance was a man who always got what he wanted. But the one thing he craved, the past, was forever out of his reach. 10 years ago, a brutal car crash had stolen his wife, Caroline, and, he believed, his 5-year-old daughter, Lily. That loss carved a hole in his soul that no amount of money could ever fill. The Starlight Gala wasn't a party for him. It was an annual painful tribute to his lost little girl. Tonight, that old, familiar ache was a sharp, stabbing pain. He watched the city's elite share laughs and trade favors, and felt utterly alone. Isabella squeezed his arm, a warm anchor in his sea of grief. "You've done so much good, Julian," she murmured. "Lily would be so proud." Isabella had been his lifeline. She'd walked into his life when he was a ghost haunting his own mansion. He was drowning, and she, a junior art consultant with a vibrant spirit, slowly melted the ice around his heart. She helped him heal, or so he believed. Now her diamond engagement ring was a blinding promise of a new beginning. But as the night dragged on, Julian's polished mask started to crack. The smiles felt hollow, the chatter meaningless. A ghost of a memory, his daughter's laughter, seemed to echo just beyond the orchestra's music. He turned to Isabella, his face a grim mask. "It's time to go." Isabella's perfect smile never faltered. "Of course, darling. Let's say our goodbyes." As they moved toward the exit, the crowd parted for them like the Red Sea. But then it happened. A young woman in a server's uniform blocked their path. She was barely more than a girl, clutching an empty tray to her chest like a shield, her eyes a storm of fear and determination. "Mr. Vance." Her voice was a fragile whisper, but it cut through the ballroom's buzz like a knife. Isabella moved to dismiss her. "Excuse me, we're leaving," but the waitress, her name tag read Ilara, held her ground. Her gaze was locked on Julian. "I'm sorry to interrupt," she said, her voice gaining strength. "But I have to ask you something. It's about the lullaby." Julian froze. The lullaby. A simple tune his mother had sung to him. A tune he had only ever sung to one person in the world. Lily. It was their secret. "What did you just say?" Isabella's grip on his arm was like a vice. "Julian, don't! She's looking for a payout. Security!" But Julian just shrugged his arm free. The entire world had narrowed to the face of this trembling waitress. "What do you know about a lullaby?" he asked, his voice low, intense. "The one about the moonbeam and the pocketful of stars," Ilara whispered, tears welling in her eyes. "She hums it. She has no idea where she learned it, but she hums it when she's scared." "She!" Julian's heart began to hammer against his ribs. "Who is she?" Isabella stepped between them, her voice pure ice. "This is insane! You're fired! Get out of here before I have you thrown in jail!" Ilara flinched but didn't back down. She looked right past Isabella, her eyes fixed on Julian. She wears a bracelet, Alara choked out, her voice cracking. A silver one with a single tiny lily charm. The blood drained from Julian's face. He'd commissioned that bracelet for Lily's 5th birthday, just 1 week before the crash. He remembered the horror of the morgue, identifying her by a scrap of her dress. The bracelet was gone, lost in the wreckage, the police had said. Or stolen. Where is she? Julian demanded. His voice was so raw, so powerful, it silenced the entire section of the ballroom. Ignoring Isabella's furious hissing, Alara pointed a shaking finger toward the staff entrance. Her name is Anna. She's my foster sister. She's helping in the kitchen. She's 10 years old. Julian didn't walk. He charged. He moved through the gawking crowd with a force no one dared to stop. Isabella scrambled after him, her face a mask of pure panic. He slammed through the swinging doors into the chaos of the hotel kitchen. And then he saw her, standing by a wash station, a small girl with his wife's dark curly hair and his own determined chin. And on her wrist, glinting under the harsh fluorescent lights, was a delicate silver bracelet with a tiny, unmistakable lily charm. The girl looked up, startled. Her eyes, the same deep blue as Caroline's, widened. The world stopped. Julian couldn't breathe. It was her, older, a stranger yet undeniably her. It was Lily. He dropped to one knee, oblivious to the chefs and staff frozen around them. He began to hum, his voice thick with a decade of unshed tears. He hummed their secret, silly lullaby. The little girl, Anna, tilted her head, her brow furrowed, and then her lips parted and she softly, hesitantly, hummed the next few notes right back to him. A choked sob tore from Julian's throat. He looked from his daughter to Alara, who was now weeping freely. And then his gaze fell on Isabella, standing in the doorway, her perfect mask finally, completely shattered. And in that instant, the horrifying truth crashed down upon him. What did you do? The question was a whisper, but it echoed with the force of a hurricane. Julian rose to his full height, his eyes burning with a cold fury that froze Isabella where she stood. Julian, I can explain, she stammered, her hands fluttering uselessly. It's not what you think. Isn't it? He shot back, his voice dangerously calm. Lily survived the crash. She was brought to a hospital where you were a junior associate. A little girl with amnesia and no name. Alara stepped forward, the rest of the story tumbling out. Anna was a Jane Doe in foster care for a year. They said she had no family. But last year I found a box. It had news clippings about you, about the billionaire's missing daughter, and it had a sealed hospital file with your name on it. Someone paid my foster parents a lot of money to keep quiet, to never ever look for her real family. Julian's eyes bored into Isabella. You wanted the money. A living daughter, even one who couldn't remember me, was a loose end you couldn't afford. So you buried her. You paid off a family. You gave her a new name, and you erased my child from the face of the earth, so you could have a clear path to my fortune. He gestured back toward the ballroom. The Starlight Charity Gala. My monument to my dead daughter. It was all a sick, twisted lie. A play you let me perform year after year while my living, breathing child was growing up a few miles away. Every tear, every moment of agony, she had used it all to build her empire on the ashes of his life. I loved you, Isabella cried, a last, desperate plea. I did it because I love you. Love, Julian let out a harsh, broken laugh. You don't even know the meaning of the word. He turned his back on her, a final, absolute dismissal. He pulled out his phone, his thumb hovering over a single contact. You will pay for this, Isabella. You and the family who sold my daughter's life for a check. You are going to lose everything. He then knelt again before the little girl, his daughter. "Hello," he said softly, his voice filled with a love she wouldn't remember, but that he had never forgotten. "My name is Julian, and I believe I'm your father." In the weeks that followed, the empire of lies Isabella had so carefully constructed came crashing down around her. She faced legal consequences that stripped her of her fortune and her freedom. The family that had hidden Lily was also held accountable, their greed exposed for the world to see. For Julian and Lily, who slowly began to reclaim her name, the journey was just beginning. With Ilara by their side, they started the slow, careful process of piecing together a decade of lost memories and building a new future. Their days weren't filled with sadness for what was lost, but with gratitude for what was found. Julian transformed his charity, renaming it the Lily Starlight Foundation. Its new mission, run by a now financially secure and eternally grateful Ilara, is to reunite lost children with their families, turning his personal tragedy into a beacon of hope for countless others. He had lost his daughter once to a devastating lie, but he would spend the rest of his life celebrating the beautiful truth of her return.